Abaribe, who's a member of one of the opposition parties in the National Assembly, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, or APGA. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, needless to say, that was a feisty delivery by you on the floor of the Senate. Obviously, this issue of the withdrawal of troops from the school in Kebbi State, 45 minutes before the kidnappers struck, is a smouldering issue. Did you do that angry performance deliberately? Did you want people to hear the sort of frustration the whole thing was generating for you, or was it spontaneous?
I think it was, let me just say it was spontaneous, and I was just angry. I mean, what you would call righteous anger. The reason is that this was not the first time we've been hearing that there has been some type of collusion between the security people and what happens. You know, villagers have said that, oh, they will tell the security people and they disappear. And then these people will strike, and then immediately after they will come back.
Well, to be fair, we don't know that it's collusion.
Well, that is the point. We don't know. So I was really angry because the point really is this. How does a government operate this way? This sense that, okay, let's try pacification, what they euphemistically call non-kinetic. It's nothing but paying someone just to enable him to come back tomorrow and do even worse things. So my anger stemmed from the fact that this is the Nigerian army that had actually imposed peace in areas where there were all these guerrillas and all that in West Africa. And we are part of, at any point that Nigeria is part of any international contingent, they always come first. And the history is there. And I just cannot, or I couldn't, reconcile the fact that a Nigerian army is now being portrayed as being, and you know, I think about a week or so before then, there was this story of a major general, a brigadier general that was killed, Uba, and so
terrible.
That makes us seem helpless, and I felt that from the way the debates were going among us, maybe the import of what actually we are confronting was not properly assimilated by my colleagues. So, well, I think that maybe now that we have seen steps being taken by the government and all that, and every other person speaking up.
I have to say that reaction that you had in the National Assembly, I mean, it touched a lot of people, including the President of the Senate.
Of course.
Who said he was associating himself with the comments that you made.
You know why I've said that? There is something that has kind of developed within our polity now. Where whenever you give any sincere advice, a sincere criticism, you say, oh, maybe this was a better way. Oh, you're seen as an enemy.
Indeed.
You want to pull down this government.
Absolutely.
And so that now
that is very wrong.
It's very, very wrong. That's not a democracy. It makes a lot of people who have things to offer now shrink back because they're not so sure that they will not be misunderstood in this way. And I think that
that's a very good point.
That those people who do all this, trying to impress Mr. President, are not doing him a favor. Because for a government to succeed, it will not only be the yes men that will make them succeed. A government succeeds because you now take
on board, from all kinds
everybody.
of people.
And then, I just give one simple example. During the time of President Obasanjo, he hired someone as one of his special assistants. Name is Dr. Stanley Makebu. He was hired as a contrarian. So when issues come up and people are going this way, he goes the other way in order to give the other sense so that everybody understands that everybody should not pull in one
playing the devil's
direction.
advocate,
Precisely. That's what he used to do.
He
was a contrarian in government, playing the devil's advocate and all that. And Obasanjo let him do that because he needed him. So we have now come to the point where some type of sickening sycophancy has now permeated the whole thing. And so everybody is a choir, a member of the choir. If you're not singing in one direction, you're seen as an enemy of the government. I'm not an enemy of the government. That's why I emphasized that we do not blame the government. They made this. But then, when you take an oath of office and say, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, do it. You don't come in and then you continue to pamper and say, let me just continue going after all when my time comes. And then the country continues to go down the abyss.
So, and obviously telling the truth about what the scale of a problem is, as you correctly pointed out, is the first step you take before you can think of what the correct solutions are.
Should be, yes.
So you were really frustrated, you were disappointed, we could see it, and it came across as very genuine. I mean, that's what drew people to it. When you were suggesting that the Senate was being told not to say anything against the failures
No, that's what I've
of
just said
today.
now.
I mean,
you say anything, then there's so much brickbat thrown at you.
Yeah, but it was the
and people
frankness
actually will get up
behind the way
and
you
start
said
to say something just for the cameras, so that the villa, we see them as defending the government. They're actually not defending the government, they're actually ruining
But
the government.
just moving on from there and returning to that story about the withdrawal of troops. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, given that there is a hierarchy of command in the army. Obviously, the troops were deployed to that location through an order and would have been withdrawn through an order. So, I mean, technically, I don't know what you think, but it shouldn't be a comcomplicated probe, but a straightforward question about who gave the order.
Who gave the order?
Yeah.
It's so straightforward that you don't even need to think about it. I mean, that was what I was why do we need to argue about this? There's a commander there. There's, like you said, the hierarchy is there. Fishing out that person is the easiest thing in the world. Because what it connotes, that a lack of action by the government or by the military authorities and the burying of all those things, we now connote to or give the impression to the public that there is collusion somewhere.
Absolutely.
And okay, if we feel that there is collusion somewhere, so who is safe? Who is safe? It means that I cannot now be sure that even if there are troops around me, that I can be safe. How can you not be sure? You are no longer sure that even the troops around you can just hand you over and then you become a victim. That is just the point. There comes a time in a country's life in which this, I don't know how I will put it now, but I will say we must stop the, obfuscation, dissemblance, and all that. We must start telling the truth. We must confront things as they are. And if you don't do that, how are you going to solve the problem? So we have had this problem all the way from the Jonathan time, all the way coming all the way down, to this, and it gets worse. It gets worse. I mean, it now looks as if somebody just sitting somewhere and just saying, okay, let the whole country go to blazes.
Right, but I mean, in terms of this particular investigation, I mean, it's all right to leave it to the army because they have their own internal processes of carrying out those kinds of investigations. And what if in the end they decided that it's not a good idea to make whatever the result is public, and that they if you like, to protect the image of the army?
That may well be so, but you send the wrong picture to the public.
Signal.
The signal to the public will now be that, people can just be put in jeopardy and nothing will happen. Because people have always waited. This is not the first time investigations have been done to see what is the response, what happens, so the way that information is being given out to reassure the public that you are on top of the situation is not there. That is just the fact.
But it is important to maintain public trust in the army. So if, for example, you go and say that, so and so happened, I mean, it could potentially negatively affect the public trust.
No, actually, to maintain public trust,
or you think
if somebody is being punished, then the public
it will
knows,
inspire the public and say, right,
yes,
okay.
It will inspire the public. At least an action is being taken.
Do you think?
And like I said, this is the best army in Africa, and I continue to say it. There's something obviously going on, and when we interact with them, because we interact with the military people, we interact with those who work with them and all that, and they are just that thing. That's a question of political will. I think President Obasanjo alluded to it the other day in Jos. I mean, you must have the will to fight. There must be that burning desire. When you take an oath of office, just like we have all taken, it is to do your best for this country. That's just it.
But I mean, obviously the National Assembly has oversight capacity over the army. At the very least, should the National Assembly, can it ensure that military personnel are held to account for their actions as a result of that oversight capacity, and ensure that measures are taken to prevent similar incidents in the future?
Actually, coincidentally, within this period, the National Assembly is on doing, as part of its duty, doing security summits.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that summit in a minute. Yeah.
So it's coincidental that at the same time, it's also happening. So we're going to wait for the report.
Right.
And I'm sure part of the report will be the measures that will be taken to ensure that such a thing never
Right. But you don't think the National Assembly should take its own steps to investigate that withdrawal?
There are committees There's a committee for military, for the Army, Air Force, Navy, and defense staff and all that. And the committees are up and doing. I'm sure they will also interact with the military to say, hey, Nigerians are feeling very bad about this.
And of course, those abducted students and their families, they belong to constituencies that have representation at the National Assembly.
Precisely.
Are there attempts to ensure that support is being provided to the abducted students and their families and all the rest of it?
I'm sure that our colleagues who have their constituents and all that, because we interact with each other, and everybody is worried. You could see the other senators when they spoke and the passion with which
But shouldn't
they
that be
spoke.
something that's being talked about volubly on the floor of the Senate? Just like you talked about the issue of...
Well, let's put it this way. When committees work, they come back to the Senate with reports. So maybe in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, we'll see their reports, and that will give us an insight into their interactions with these agencies.
But I mean, given your experience as a senior member of the National Assembly, a senator who's been there for quite some time, do you think that given all that's going on at the moment, the abductions, the terror attacks, the Trump threat, the declaration of a security emergency, discussions around state police, the security summit you're talking about, you know, not just here, but in various parts of the country, do you think all that has heightened that long overdue conversation about insecurity?
Of course.
And more than ever, the chance of a lasting solution is greater now than since this government came to power 2.5 years ago? Or is there a sense that there's a lot of flailing about, basically?
Well, let's just put it this way. I think that there's movement.
There's greater urgency.
Now there's an urgency now, and there's everything that we can see something going on. We just want to see some clarity at the end of the day to say we're going to do A, B, and C, and not just a general talk and then we just leave it.
And you're going to keep snapping at their heels.
Obviously, we're not going to let anybody rest. The job of those of us who are in the opposition is that we put your feet to the fire at all times.
Well, beyond the opposition, the job of the National Assembly is to oversight the executive.
The point of the part of the job of the National Assembly is oversight the executive. Yes.
Yeah. God bless this Senator Abaribe, you understand, for speaking the truth. You understand? So, you know what is that we Nigeria, you understand, we like to talk, you understand, but to take action, not be the issue. You understand me? You understand? Because when this insecurity thing starts, you understand, many Nigerians they don't deliberate. Even the senior self, they talk about they bring about the issue. You understand? You understand? So the most thing where the way they make the verse, now be that's a Senator Pabio. You understand? And that man, I don't really understand that man. You understand? I don't really understand man. Any suggestion where they bring, that man will use that to take cover up. You understand? As he like to decide the Tinubu, you know what? He like to recover with the truth. Yeah? Can you imagine? Okay. How all those bandits take abduct all those children with helicopter without no military intervention? Yeah? How? Because to abduct all those kind of children, not be 1 minute, not be 50, not be 20 minutes. At least there's some good information say things they happen. Me, I know say all these people say they work together. Even the military say all they work together. I don't understand. Upon the forces we will get for this country, nothing is be done. Well, it is well. So, another solution now we look for, because the solution is that other people they know how to all the solution. That is the issue. Please help me to share also to that conversation. I agree to all